Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML.
News Talk 1270 KIML, Don Carpenter Show. Welcome back to the program. And that wasn't actually I hit the wrong bumper music for that one. Oh well. I guess it's still all right. I want to welcome in studio, we have Heidi Hockett and Kurt Pearson from Basin Electric, and we're going to be talking a little bit about the upcoming hearing down in Casper. It's tomorrow, right?
Correct. Friday.
Tomorrow, talking about the EPA Haze Regulations, and we'll get to that in a second, but I just wanted to mention, I had the opportunity to go out yesterday and actually take a tour of the Dry Fork plant, and I'll tell you, I was really amazed at the technology and how well everything's done over there. I mean, it's spotlessly clean, which is amazing for a coal-fired plant. I mean, everybody has all these images, the old days of all the black smoke belching out of the chimneys and stuff, and it is nothing at all like that. And anybody that drives past it can see. I mean, there's nothing to see out there other than state-of-the-art plant.
Yeah. You have the same reaction that many do when they come out for the first time. It is eye-opening. It's surprising. It's very clean. It's modern. And we encourage people to come out and take a look at it. And I think when you do, you actually will change your mind about a coal-fired power plant.
Oh yeah, and as I was telling you yesterday on the tour, I mean, I've been to Hoover Dam and I've seen the power plant there as well. And I mean, it's every bit as clean as that, and and the technology is even better because Hoover Dam's been around for ages, but I mean the technology that goes into this, it's just it really is amazing.
Well, it's fun to show everybody because being one of the last coal-fired power plants that's built in the past 25 years, I mean, it's got the greatest, best technology that there is. And when people come out for a tour, they can see the control room, they can see the turbine deck. If we have time or if it's appropriate, we go up onto the roof and look at the mine mouth operation. And all of the environmental controls start right from the conveyor belt. It's all covered. They took a lot of thought and care in everything that they did in the planning process.
Now that you mention that, I had actually noticed that the conveyor belt coming from the mine up to the silos at the plant, it's all covered. And I was wondering, I guess that to keep the dust down and that kind of thing.
Correct. Yep. It's all washed down daily. It's covered. And so even clear back from the mine to the plant, we took everything into consideration, the wildlife and all of the waterways. So we wanted to make sure everything was protected.
Yeah, and I think anybody that's spent any time around here, they've driven past the plant, they've driven past the various mines in the area. They know you guys take the environmental stewardship very seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are very proud of all of the environmental record that we have. A couple tours, we've saw some bobcats. We generally see deer out there, and that's one of the really surprising things. We live in Wyoming, and we want to take care of our own, and it really shows that we've definitely done that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, I come from back east where coal mining is a lot different. I mean, it's either underground or, strip the tops off of mountains. And it's, then there are different challenges to that kind of mining. But it seems like this is actually the best way to do it, at least an environmental and safety as well.
Right. When they were building Dry Fork, they worked 6 million man-hours without any lost time accident at all. And looking at, you got equipment from Germany and Japan and Brazil and Italy and language barriers and equipment. And at one time there was 23 cranes going at one time. And just to know how important safety was, they had meetings every morning. And it was an amazing feat, really.
So, I mean, not even somebody dropping a hammer on their foot and breaking a toe and having to miss a couple days. So not even something that simple.
No, and in fact, Don, we take safety so seriously there that the number one topic on every agenda item during construction, the first item on the agenda was safety. And every contractor that had more than, I believe, 25 employees on site was required to have their own safety coordinator, in addition to the Basin Electric and the Sargent and Lundy safety coordinators. So we truly take safety to heart.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing. I mean, have you guys had any problem getting out? I mean, obviously, for the majority of the people listening right now here in Campbell County, and I mean, this signal gets out pretty much over to, I'd say, probably. I mean, sometimes you can pick it up in spearfish as well. So, I mean, it's a fairly big signal, but I think most of the people in this listening area know the value of coal to the region. And, you know, especially Campbell County and Gillette in particular. But, I mean, do you have a problem with people that don't really know, you know, how well that you are with the environment and safety and, you know, maybe they underestimate the value of coal to this area?
Well, I think that we all take it for granted when we get up in the morning and we switch that light on and we, you know, want to blow dry our hair and we just take it for granted. The light's going to come on, and there's a lot more to it than that. And what we really focus on is educating people. So that's one of the reasons that we do the tours and invite people out and invite in education groups and schools and colleges. And we also have congressional staff coming out. We've had visitors from China and Japan. So we encourage education and let people make up their own mind.
Yeah, I've actually, I guess the county and the city have been inviting mayors and various dignitaries from across the country and around the world to come to Gillette and actually look at the mines and look at the plant and see that things can be done. So I guess that's a kind of a big thing around here. A lot of people are coming from all over the world to see how you guys do things over there.
They are. We've had, like I said, international visitors. We have several congressional staff members coming out in August. So we really want to get people out here and visit and show them exactly how it works. We're very transparent, and they'll see that when they come to the plant.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing to remember as well. That just getting the word out is kind of a priority right now. And actually, we're up against our first break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about how maybe some people around here can get involved in getting that word out, because we have a hearing coming up tomorrow in Casper, and we definitely want to make sure that the coal industry is represented well. So we'll talk about that when we come back. News Talk 1270 KIML, Don Carpenter Show. We'll be right back.
Have an event you'd like to promote on the show? Email Don at doncarpenter@basinsradio.com.
This
News Talk 1270 KIML, Don Carpenter Show. Welcome back to the program. If you're just tuning in, we're talking with Heidi Hockett and Kurt Pearson from Basin Electric. And in the first break, we were kind of going over my little tour of the plant yesterday, and I was saying how impressed I was with everything. I guess now we should probably talk about the main reason you guys are here, and that's the upcoming hearing tomorrow in Casper about the EPA Regional Haze Regulations. I guess they're proposing some changes in the regulations?
That's right, Don. Under the Clean Air Act, the Regional Haze Program is really designed to protect visibility of Class 1 air areas. And in Wyoming, that's Yellowstone National Park and the Grand Teton National Park and a couple other areas. So what we're talking about is the state, under the Clean Air Act, has what's called primacy, or they have the right to determine the best available retrofit control technologies for power plants. The federal government, the EPA, is coming in and saying the state's plan is in some portions inadequate. So where we have a state implementation plan that Basin Electric and the other utilities in Wyoming agree with, and we've worked very diligently and already started work to improve our emissions of the various, like nitrogen oxides. The federal government is saying that's not good enough, and they want to impose stricter control technologies that are going to be very expensive.
So they're saying that the state of Wyoming, and I guess the other states in the area, that their regulations aren't good enough. And I mean, is there a reason behind this? I mean, what is their stated? I mean, we all know probably what the real reason is, but we'll just say what their stated claim is. Why are they saying that the state's regulations aren't good enough? I mean, anybody that's been to Wyoming or Montana or Utah, I mean, this is probably the most beautiful area in the country. Why are they saying that the regulations here aren't good enough?
Well, I can tell you that the state consistently and continually takes the position that they are good enough and that they completely disagree with the findings of the EPA. And so what the EPA did, they came in May 24th and they said we'll have one hearing in June 24th. Governor Meade and the state came back to the EPA and said that's not enough time for public input. That's not enough time for industry to respond. So they've had two other hearings proposed. One was just this past week or so on the 17th down in Cheyenne, and tomorrow is Casper. And this is a chance for anyone in Campbell County, anyone that is in the coal industry, anyone that has any concerns, pro or con, to come to the hearing. Starts at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's down at the Oil and Gas Conservation Commission in meeting room 129, and that's in Casper. And or at least listen, show your support. If you have an opinion, you will have a chance to talk. So.
I went to the hearing in Cheyenne, and anybody can attend, anybody can listen, and it really is just a show of support if you attend. If you want to speak at the hearing, you just fill out a card and turn that in, and everyone will have an opportunity to speak. Basin Electric supports Governor Meade, and the Count on Coal people were there handing out T-shirts, stickers, bracelets, and so like them on Facebook, support them, mostly support Governor Meade and what he is trying to accomplish for the state of Wyoming, because as you saw firsthand, even driving out to the Dry Fork Station, all of the land on the sides are reclaimed land, and you would have no idea. There would be very little improvement in visibility or haze. And although Dry Fork wouldn't be affected by this, our Laramie River Station units 1, 2, and 3 would be affected at the cost of about $600 million. And then what would happen is we would have to pass that higher rate on to our members, our consumers. So we should all be concerned about this.
Yeah, and you mentioned some of the other plants. I mean, Laramie River might be in a pretty good position where, I mean, $600 million is a lot of money. But, I mean, there are some plants that would be just completely shut out completely.
Well, they'll shut down.
Yeah.
That's a possibility. And Sean Reese, who is the policy director for Governor Meade, he testified at the June 24th public hearing held by the EPA in Cheyenne that the total capital cost of implementing the technology that the EPA suggests is appropriate for all the utilities in Wyoming is over $1 billion. And he also made the statement, which Basin Electric supports, that this is greatly more expensive than the state's plan, and the EPA's rule delivers no meaningful improvement in air visibility. And Don, that's a really important point for your listeners to understand. This is not a health standard. This is a visibility standard. This is a standard proposed by the EPA on the visibility of the air over Class 1 areas. So we're not talking a health issue, we're talking a visibility issue. Very important distinction.
And beyond that, I mean, it also sets a bad precedent when the federal government can just come in and say, your rules aren't good enough, we're going to impose our own rules, when they've already made the agreement that the state rules are supposed to be the state rules were supposed to be enforced before the federal rules.
That is true. In fact, the EPA did agree with the state about a year ago that the state's proposed rules were adequate. And then EPA came back this past May and said, no, indeed, they're not. So there has been a bit of a flip-flop on the position of the EPA.
Well, and again, maybe it's the cynic in me saying, well, funny thing is, an election happened in the meanwhile. But I mean, it just seems that it seems that it would set a terrible example. I mean, because that wouldn't be the end of these rule changes. I mean, it would be the rule changes would keep coming, and they would require more and more upgrades, and eventually it would shut down every plant. I mean, and I hate to be the big conspiracy guy, but I think there's probably at least a faction in the EPA that wants to do that kind of thing and shut down all coal plants.
That may well be, but industry, and in fact, your listeners, Campbell County, Gillette, and the entire state of Wyoming, I think really truly gets it. They understand how important coal is, not just to Wyoming, but it provides 40% of the electricity nationwide. And Wyoming coal is shipped to many states. And so Wyoming is energy central. And Gillette proudly proclaims himself to be the energy capital.
Oh, yeah.
So and it's real. It is true.
Yeah, and it's absolutely a real problem. And I think a lot of people, maybe people around here maybe take it for granted because it's been such a part of the economy for a long time. But this would give everybody a chance to kind of speak up and do something to protect Campbell County and Gillette and the coal industry.
That's true. And everyone needs to understand, Basin Electric, we truly believe that protecting the visibility in our national parks and our wilderness areas is an important thing. And so we simply just do not believe that the measures that the EPA proposes for our Laramie River Station down in Wheatland, we don't think they're warranted or consistent with the state and federal air quality laws. And we are supporting the state in this. Industry, not just Basin Electric, but the Missouri Basin Power Project, the Pacific Core Group, Rocky Mountain Power, and the Wyoming Municipal Electric Association, we've put a website out there for people to go to learn more about this. And if I might mention for your listeners, that's www.stopepawy.com. STOPEPAWY.com. There's a lot more information there, and there's a place there that people can actually let their comments be known.
Now, and again, I guess the big question is, I mean, is this just targeted at Wyoming, or is this just, targeted at nationwide?
Their EPA has been going and evaluating each state's proposal. So all the states were supposed to supply to the EPA their plans to control visibility in their Class 1 air areas. And there was a recent hearing in Oklahoma just had their state implementation plan overturned. So their target is Wyoming next, but they are going state by state. But really, I would ask your listeners just to think, do you or your family or your uncle, your cousin, your nephew, do you work in the coal industry? If so, let your voice be heard. This is not a time for complacency.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even people that don't work in the coal industry, I mean, obviously they would probably have more informed comments to have at the meeting, but really anybody that works in this area, everything is supported by the coal industry. I mean, all the businesses that sponsor this radio station, they sell products to coal workers. Yeah. So, I mean, the coal industry is the bedrock of all business around here. So I think, I mean, and obviously there's quite a few people in the coal industry directly, but I think it indirectly affects every single person in this county.
All right, I've heard the statistics. It's either for every one coal mining job, it supports either 3 or 5 additional jobs in the community. And I mean, we're talking about good paying jobs. We're talking about jobs that you have a good quality of life. And one of the things that Basin finds really disappointing is that the EPA did not talk to Wyoming experts about anything. They in fact used Google Earth pictures to show the visibility, and that is one of the ways that they based their decision upon. So
now the visit, so they actually used Google Earth and just did like the street view thing and just looked at pictures of Yellowstone Park and, oh, it looks like a hazy day, we'll just put in more regulations?
Correct. There was some big photos at the past hearing in Cheyenne, and a couple of people actually did bring that up, that if they really did just use Google Earth for their visibility and did not consult the experts in Wyoming, and in fact did not talk to anybody in Wyoming when they were making this decision.
And for those that might not know how Google Earth works, usually those photos are a couple years old, and you don't know when they were taken. So, I mean, it could have been taken in the middle of wildfire season.
Correct.
And, I mean, that's where most of the haze comes from in the West. I mean, you know, we're in that season right now. In a couple weeks, we'll probably have a little bit of hazy sky, but it's not because of the coal plants. It's because of wildfires.
Yeah, that was brought up at the hearing as well. And, you know, we did have, I believe it was a record high year for wildfires, and that was not taken into account at all.
Yeah, so, I mean, the whole thing kind of just reeks of political maneuvering, I think. We're actually up against the bottom of the hour break. Let's take a break, and we'll come back, and we'll kind of wrap things up. I know you guys have to get out of here fairly shortly, so stay tuned. News Talk 1270, KIML, Don Carpenter Show. We'll be right back.
Out of town and still want to listen?
Stream the show at DonCarpenterRadio.com.
Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML. Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML.
News Talk 1270 KIML, Don Carpenter Show. Welcome back to the program. And if you're just tuning in, we're talking with Heidi Hockett and Kurt Pearson from Basin Electric. And we've been talking about the big public hearing going on down in Casper tomorrow about the EPA haze regulations. They're trying to override the regulations in what they say is in the interest of clearer skies. How did you put it over Class 1?
Class 1 air areas.
Class 1 area, okay.
Yep.
So it would be Grand Teton and Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
So and as we talked about in the last break, their source for saying that the clouds and the skies were hazy is Google Earth. I just found that amazing when I heard that. And yeah.
As did the state of Wyoming. We found it very amazing. But we would just encourage anybody who wants to go to the hearing tomorrow to show up, support the state of Wyoming, and support Governor Mead.
Yeah. Now, I guess for people that might be kind of hesitant because they don't think they're experts on the coal industry or something like that. I mean, anybody that's in this area basically has some kind of connection to the coal industry, and anybody that lives here can kind of see what the coal industry has done for Campbell County and Gillette in particular. I mean, just the facilities around here. I mean, and basically everything in this county is paid for by coal at some point.
No, that's true, Don. I've been coming to Gillette since 2005 as a spokesperson for Basin Electric, telling the city council, county commissioners, and the mayors. I've worked with Mayor Ebenson and now Mayor Murphy, both. And what I see in Gillette is truly amazing. This city has, in my opinion, wisely invested the tax dollars that have come their way. For a town the size of Gillette to have the facilities like the rec center, the Camplex, it's just simply amazing. To have national entertainment, to have huge conventions coming into a town of this size. I'm from North Dakota, and this just doesn't happen in comparably sized towns in North Dakota. To be planning for the sewer and water and the streets, having Northern Drive and having Southern Drive and having Enzi Drive, planning for a future of 50,000 or 60,000 people and having the wherewithal to do that. This is truly amazing. And it's the little things that make Gillette a wonderful place to live, in my opinion, like the art program, where you have original pieces of art sprinkled throughout the town, up and down Enzi Drive and down Main Street. Artists are competing to get their works of art shown here in Gillette, Wyoming. This is a neat community, and I'm proud to be, even though I'm from North Dakota, I'm proud to be part of the community of Gillette, Wyoming.
Yeah, and we basically, the Campbell County mines and the revenue from the mines even pays for pretty much the entire education budget for the state of Wyoming. And we basically pay, and Wyoming has really good public schools, and that's all because of coal. I mean, it's amazing.
No, that's true. We, while we were building the Dry Fork station north of Gillette, we opened up the old trailer mobile home court north of the airport, and we had kids. We encouraged our workers to bring their families, and we had kids going to the Rawhide School walking to that school for the first time in many, many years. And I was talking to one of the parents there during construction, and he was just amazed at the quality of the education being offered in what is essentially a rural school north of town. And they have a child that was more advanced than some of the other kids, and she was getting the special education that she needed. It's a good education system here, and you're right, largely paid for by mineral extraction.
Yeah, and that's the important thing. And I think anybody would be, it would behoove anybody to go down to Casper tomorrow. And we're almost, I know you guys got to get out of here. One more time, just let everybody know exactly where they can go to and when they can go to kind of let their thoughts known on this.
Thank you. The hearing starts at 1 o'clock. It's at the Oil and Gas Conservation Commission, meeting room 129, and that's at 2211 King Boulevard in Casper.
Okay, and also if you want to check out more information, the website is stopepawy.com. So you can visit the website as well, and I think there's a form you can fill out that you can get your comments in as well there. So, and I want to thank Heidi and Kurt for coming in. I'm sure we'll see you guys again sometime soon. And I want to thank Heidi for showing me around the plant yesterday as well. It was a lot of fun.
You're welcome. Come out anytime.
There you go. And we'll be right back. News Talk 1270 KIML, Don Carpenter Show.